Degree Net Podcast. Third Degree, the Third Degree Net Podcast. Third Degree Net Podcast.
This episode of Third Degree, the podcast, has been brought to you by you and people like you, the listeners of this podcast who have joined us on patreon.com/third degree. If you like our work in the soccer community, why not join us? Patreon.com/third degree.
Well, hello there, DFW Soccer Curious. Welcome to another episode, the last of 2025 of Third Degree, the podcast. Alas, Dan is busy getting ready for his New Year's party, I assume. He's got a beard to tend to, so he will not be joining us today. But that does mean that we do have your hero and my hero, editor, founder of thirddegree.net, and the original soccer influencer himself, Buzz Carrick. Come in, Buzz.
Peter, you may be shocked to learn that this is the final episode of season 7 of this podcast.
That's ridiculous.
Season 28 of Third Degree.
How many episodes of this have we done?
This is 343, and there's been a couple of special ones too, like a secondary episode for
the very special ones.
Yeah, like when we did a special one when Lucci got fired, because it was breaking news, big deal, and we did
the one where Dan ran away after school one day. We had to go find him.
Yeah.
Oh wait, no, that's
different kind of special episode.
very
the one where the coach touched him. No,
wait, Buzz.
They don't have that special episode.
Okay, was it?
No, too dark.
I didn't have Buzz working dark on my bingo card for this episode.
Christmas is over. Wife's out of town. Times are dark.
Okay, that tickled me. Thank you very much for that.
You're welcome.
Well, I don't know how long this will go on for because it's not a lot going on. Other than the fact that Dallas does appear to be close to signing somebody. Tom Bogert initially announced or revealed this. I'm sure you've probably heard some more, but it looks like Dallas is going to here soon announce the signing of a 28-year-old Swedish right wing back, Herman Johansson.
Yeah, this is about as official as it can be without being official, in the sense that, once Bogart says something's being finalized, that means it's very, very legit. I can tell you from everything we hear, same sort of thing. Like, I'm not reporting anything new here when telling you that, yeah, this is about to be across the finish line. Can deals fall apart at this stage? Yeah, they can. Somebody in MLS just lost a dude that they thought they had. They even done his physical, and then he bailed off to Brazil. Was that Atlanta that happened to just recently?
Was it the goalkeeper in Orlando? Wasn't it?
Oh yeah. It was it was a cross MLS move.
Yeah.
It was the Orlando goalkeeper. They actually had done the physical, and he still bailed off.
He got a better deal.
Yeah. So until the paperwork is signed and submitted to the league, and the league says yes, Dallas will never announce anything. But we can tell you that you can believe that it's as far as long as getting to the stage where that kind of thing is happening. And so hopefully within a week, because remember, Peter, FC Dallas camp opens in basically 2 weeks. It opens January 10th. So within the next week and a half.
So close to starting a new season already. Good Lord.
Right. Because the first game is February 21st. So if you backdate that 6 weeks, that's January 10th, 11th. So, I would expect players will report right around something like the 8th, 9th, 10th. And have their physicals, and within that Monday, the 12th, give or take, or the 13th, possibly, we should see guys run around training. So, if you're thinking about this deal needs to get over the line, and whatever else they're going to do, which we'll come back to in a minute, it's right around the corner. And this player in particular is a very exciting player. Lots of goal contributions for the team that won their league, lots of goals and assists out of the wingback position. Very offensive, obviously. Prime of his career, 28. You got to love that. It tells us also that, what we already knew, that Shaq Moore basically is a center back, because this guy is going to be playing wing back. And you also still have Giovanni and Enzo Newman over there, both of which have different kinds of injury situations. So, you're assuming this dude's going to walk in and start and play basically all the time, which make you wonder a little bit about those other two guys, where they're going to play, or if they'll both be here, Giovanni and Newman. So it's an interesting signing. It was not a signing I was expecting, wingback, but the guy looks great on paper. So I like it in that essence. Once they decided to stick with the back three, the 3-5-2. Okay, how are you going to rebuild the team and play good defense? And the idea, and basically, this guy confirms that Shaq Moore's in the middle.
Yeah, and I think there are a couple of things to think about. One, I'm always a little bit cautious when I see a Scandinavian coming to play in Texas. I just, for all the obvious reasons. But, some guys acclimate to that really well and easily, and they prefer it. And that's why they move here, is because they want to play in the heat. So I guess we'll find that out. I think the thing that concerns me the most, because I'm not a fan. Let me say this. It's not that I'm not a fan of a back three. I'm concerned that if they decide to stick to the back three, it's because they have agreed to stick with the players they already have on hand versus doing the thing that we want them to do, which is go out and find another Urugide equitable center back to, play alongside him in a 2. So when I see them getting a right wing back, I agree, Buzz. I think that means they're going to convert more to a center back full time, and you're going to have him, Urugide, and Ibiaga or Lalas Abubakar again. And I just, man, that doesn't feel good to, we're so far off, and a lot of other things can happen. But if that's essentially what they're thinking about for a starting back three, that doesn't feel great. At least not even on paper.
Well, obviously Urugide is one of those people, and we assume Shaq Moore will be the right center back. And we're also assuming that Ibiaga and Lalas Abubakar are going to be backups, because the only pure left back is Nolan Norris, and he looked great at the end of the season playing left center back. Now, that was just one game. Shaq Moore looked great at center back for like 10 games at least, but both of those things are fragile. Yeah, both of those are ifs. They're betting a lot that those two guys are going to come good. But also consider that we did the stats on this towards the end of the season. Once they changed formations and got Shaq Moore back in there as one of the center backs, they went from a horrible goals against, it was on pace to be one of the worst in league history, to one of the best in MLS, in FC Dallas history, if you extrapolate it over a whole season. So if they can maintain that, whatever it was, last 10, 12 games that they played the back three, if they can play defense just like that, again, their defense is going to be phenomenal. Now, you're betting a lot on Nolan Norris, and if he fails, and I don't think he will, I have a lot of faith in the kid, but if he fails, then you're looking at more like Shaq Moore at left center back. You might be looking at Ibiaga playing, but remember, Giovanni Jesus also played some center back before he came to FC Dallas. He can play like that right center back kind of position. So obviously, when they go into camp competition is going to determine who's going to play of all those people. Alvaro could get in the mix. The only one we feel like is 100% lock is Urugide. Is it a dead solid, amazing choice? It's not the choice I would have made. They're rolling the dice here because they're rolling the dice on Shaq Moore and Nolan, that those guys are going to be good center backs. I'm with you. I would have preferred the back four with a new Urugide to play alongside Urugide. But we're not getting that. So we're getting the slightly riskier version, which is to stick with the 3-5-2. But Quill is convinced. So, it's his gig, and he's bet his future basically, because, if they crash and burn and miss the playoffs, he's going to get canned, right? They just barely made the playoffs this last time, and that's the minimum. Right. So if he doesn't make it, so he's betting his future that this is the way to go. So.
Yeah, I guess I'm curious, and I don't know if we'll ever know this answer, is how does the club find itself picking up a 28-year-old Swedish right back? Is that something where Zanata and his team scouted him out and said, we're giving you this guy, make him fit? Or is this where Quill was like, get me a right wing back, and they went out and that whole conversation, how did this come to be? Is because we've been very concerned that the roster construction for a while now has been guys in an office making decisions and just passing off whatever the results are to the coach and say, make the best of it.
Yeah. Since sort of the summer window last time, you can sort of, for me, point at moves and think about them as like, oh, that's one Quill wanted versus one that's sort of an organizational, just sort of players in a pile move. Like Kappas clearly is a Quill, like you're getting me Kappas, right? Whereas we look at Deedson and now you think, how does that guy even fit into this team? And we hear about how the club was after him for a couple of years before Quill even got here. So clearly that's sort of more of an organizational sort of scout. So this guy, when you look at him, this Johansson, you look at him, you think, well, if Quill says I'm playing a back three and Shaq Moore's going to be a center back, I'm sure Quill said, I need a right wing back. And I want one that's really offensive. So that this feels more like a guy that's been gotten just to fit the system. Where the young Israeli U22 guy sure feels like a dude that maybe the organizational scouted and just sort of just throw in the pile. Like, how does that guy fit in if Paxton's supposed to be the answer? If you got Ramiro and you got Kayik, what in the world do you get that player for? So you can sort of feel, to me, a difference in those kind of signings, I think.
No, that makes sense. That makes a ton of sense. Now, I will also say on the upside that this Johansson character does have some time in his career spent at right mid. So it's not like he's exclusively a wingback. I believe the manager prior to the one that he has now was not playing a system with three in the back, and Johansson played both right mid and some center mid at that time. So it's possible that if Quill decides he's not going to play three in the back, this guy can do some other things too. And show some qualities. Again, very much TBD. You and I have been thinking you and I have the same mantra every year, which is you really can't judge a player until you actually see them.
No,
in training or in Texas in the heat, in the stadium, doing all that. You just don't know what you're going to get. And, we'll see. It is an interesting one though, because both positionally and where he's coming from, he's in the right age group. It's crazy to me that they picked this guy up for like $1 million in a transfer fee. And then you compare and contrast that with some of the money they've spent on other players over the last few years. Yeah. I mean, think about Kayik, the money for Kayik, or the money they spent on Enisali, or the money they spent on, some of these other guys that I don't know. It's wild to me how all that stuff comes together.
Well, based on the reports, he's going to be about the same money as Enisali. But remember that they have this European scout now we don't know whether he was involved in Musa Sali or this guy, but I would assume that he is on some level. But you're right. This does have some of the versatility they like. And Quill did say in the press conference, well, that 3-5-2 is going to be the default or the base. There will be games where he'll change just to catch people off guard, or if it fits the other team. So don't be surprised if all of a sudden it's a back four at some point and the Johansson dude's playing right back, or it's a 4-4-2 and he's playing a right mid, or he's a right wing. Like, a player that's as talented as this guy appears to be will be one of the first names that's going to go on the sheet. And then you work other pieces around him. You fit in Ramiro where you need to in the gaps, and this guy, you'll be one of the first dudes you'll put in there. And that's really why it's sort of an exciting player on paper. Again, we need to see him in person, but this move feels good in the sense that like so many moves they do are just like, here's a guy and throw him on the pile. Whereas this one clearly is like, it's for the system, it's for the coach, it's for the fit. And this is the kind of signing I like, is the one that fits the coach and fits the system.
I do wonder also, because subsequent to Bogert announcing this, about a week later, I think a couple of days ago, we started to see the rumor that caught me off guard, which is there's a chance that Ramiro may end up getting sold back to a club in Brazil.
Yeah, Cruzeiro, I believe it is. Yeah, basically this is a situation where they're selling a player. If I read the reports right, this is not my reporting, that team is trying to sell a player. And if they sell him, they're like, crap, we need a body. And they're like, wait, Ramiro's around, go get him. And they remember him fondly for like being a guy who's really smart, really intelligent. You can plug him in and he'll be fine. He's not going to be elite, but he'll be fine. That's the kind of situation. And it reminds me, for people that are like, no, Quill loves this guy. Quill loves Ramiro. They won't going to want to keep him. Sure. They love Thiago Santos too. And then like 2 weeks before the season, they got $1 million offer of Thiago Santos and they sold him like that. And they left Lucci 2 weeks before the season without a 6. You remember this?
Oh,
and they went into the season, and then like late in the preseason or even in the season, well, they went and got Quignon. They went and got Quignon. Yeah. So like but this feels like that. Like Thiago Santos was a respected veteran player that some club, I was like, crap, we need a 6. Same thing. Crap, we need a 6. Here's $1 million for Ramiro. Great. Give us $1 million. That'll pay for the Swede we just bought. Because think about it this way: like if you're penciling in a 3-5-2 and you're adding these pieces, is Ramiro a lock starter? No, because you're thinking Pomykal. They're thinking Pomykal starting, right? Or Kayik is starting. Ramiro is a guy that could play many. He's a great insurance to have, great locker room, great leader, you love everything about him in terms of like, I can stick him in like 8 different places and he can do okay, but is he a necessary piece anymore? No, he's getting paid. He came here on a free and he's getting paid like $250.
Well, as much as he played out on the right late in the season, it just made me wonder, maybe the Johansson signing isn't as unusual as we like knowing these two things together. Oh, Ramiro's leaving. Now we've got one less guy to play out on the right. We need somebody to do that full time, especially if we're moving Shaq Moore. You start thinking about these individual pieces of news and gluing them together, and it all starts to build a much more complete and total picture. So the other thing that we found out is that they are going back to Spain for preseason.
Yeah, Marbella or whatever it's called, where they went last year. I think they really like that. Obviously, they found Alvaro, the center back that they have there, and the thing. But I think they just like the isolated environment, so they're doing that again. And the only reason we know that is that Marabella put out a graphic that has the logos of all the teams coming, and there's like 5 MLS teams on there, including SC Dallas. There's no dates confirmed. And by the way, we should add on Ramiro. It's not like there's a Bogart level news break of they're selling him. This is more of a talking kind of points of like they're trying to sell this guy, and if they do, Ramiro might be the emergency sort of go get that dude.
Plus, you're having to Google translate Portuguese.
Yeah, it's
shady Brazilian sports journalism. So we don't really know, but it does make sense.
I checked the account to see how many followers they had, and it was robust enough that I was like, "Oh, that's fun. We'll retweet that and talk about it."
All right,
it's a good talking point. I mean, as you said, it makes sense. Where like he's not an ideal right wing back. He was filling in out there. They tried other people and it didn't work. So like, if you're going to go get one. And think about, I also correlate this back to Zanata going into that press conference and raving about the health of Giovanni. Maybe he wasn't talking to us. Maybe he was talking to people that are out there wondering what happened to Giovanni and can we buy him? So we'll see what all happens with the rest with the 2 weeks till the season preseason starts, which is amazing. It's like 2 weeks away, dude. Can you believe it?
Yeah, I know.
That's fast. And we still don't have all the players we think in.
Well,
for sure, we don't have the right wing back in.
No, and we also know history tells us that, they'll add players to the very last minute. I mean, the Lucho deal came together not very long before the season started last year.
Yeah, and that's the one position left. That's the one, gigantic, massive chess piece is the 10. And those are hard to do. And the chatter is something's in process, but I don't have a name. I've tried to get it. I don't have it. It's not leaked. I'm surprised it hasn't leaked. I mean, I figured Bogart would have it by now. That dude gets all the New York news.
Yeah. But, will Dallas start the season with one DP?
That's a good question. I mean, it depends on how much they want to bother flip-flopping around. I mean, you could start the season with somebody filling that DP hole, but
you know what I mean? Like DP quality player. Sure, there's guys on the roster that they could convert to DP, but that's not the same thing.
Yeah.
Versus bringing in somebody who is pedigree or name or both that's worth paying DP money for.
Well, I've heard very specifically that it's a singular person that they're trying to get across the line, that it's not like, oh, they're out looking for a 10. It's the kind of thing where people are like, oh, wait till you hear about the 10 they're getting, from somebody who knows that wouldn't tell me. So, I'm pretty sure it's in the works. I can't go as far to tell anybody how far along it is. I think they're probably somewhat satisfied to open camp with Patrickson Delgado as that 10. You can, of course, always stick a Paxton in there. There are other bodies you could cram into that 10 spot in a 3-5-2. I don't think it would work. Peter, as well as anybody, how huge that position is in a 3-5-2, because your wingbacks are going to be giving you your width, and they're not really going to be playmakers. But that is part of why they are going out and getting an offensive minded playmaker. But Bernie on the other side, production is not great out of him. And the other option other than Bernie is like a Josh Torquato, who's now 18 instead of 17. But, so like a Fulcrum 10, and so even if you're Matt Doyle and you just absolutely love Delgado, I don't know that you would think, oh, that's the guy that's ready to be the Fulcrum playmaker 10 is going to dial up 15 to 20 assists.
No,
it's not.
Look, I love Matt Doyle. I love me some Matt Doyle, but I also respect and understand that he's trying to pay attention to 30 different clubs at the same time. And his Patrickson Delgado experience is pretty much limited to highlights.
Yeah.
Not the fine collection of mid-tier and lowlights that the rest of us get an eyeful of game in and game out.
Well, in the end of the day, you want a guy, with that passing assist creating profile. You want your Mauro Diaz, your Lucho Acosta,
right. Well, I think that's
role.
the problem, is that the Patterson Delgado highlight package is largely comprised of him hitting a bunch of bangers.
Yeah.
As a kid, not
Yeah.
the Mauro Diaz, Lucho Acosta kind of passing the ball combination style wizardry that we've seen out of that and need out of that position. I mean, it's not that Delgado's a terrible passer, but he certainly isn't the quality of those cats.
He's more that charging forward 8 kind of guy than he is like the pure string pulling 10. And that shape needs the pure 10. You need the guy to be dicing up the defense with when you're going to have Logan Farrington and Petter Musa in front of you.
Yeah, if they get to the end of the window and they haven't signed a true DP10 and it's the Patterson Delgado experience for 2026, I think we're all going to be pretty disappointed.
Yeah. I mean, I think they can still make the playoffs that way because all the other pieces will be pretty solid, but that's basically what they did last year. It's like you added a wing back, but the defense is going to be the same as last year. The offense is going to be the same as last year. Patterson Delgado in there with Kappas and Ramiro Caik is what they did last year, and they made the playoffs. So, it's not likely to be crazy worse. I'm not going to say that they're sitting pat and getting past, because the addition of this wing back, I think, is a legit add. And, Kappas coming in midpoint of last season, he should even take a step forward, one would hope, as he's now 6 months into the league. So I'm not too discouraged about what they're doing. The biggest piece is left. The queen in your chess game is missing. If you get that piece, it's gonna be really exciting. I mean, I'll go as far to say, top 4 in the West if you can get that playmaking 10, man. That's everything. I know you don't agree with me, but I think the defense is all there.
I don't know. I mean, so you're telling me the starting back 3 next year is Shaq on the right, Uragide in the middle, and Nolan Norris on the left.
That's what they finished the back of last season with, or with the alternative, which was more on the left, and then like Abubakar on the right, and that's what they finished the season with, and would have been in the top 3 in the league in goals allowed. They would have been right there with LA and Seattle and San Diego as the best teams in the league.
I feel like there's some intangibles tied to who they played and the point of the seat. But all right. Well, let me put it this way. I feel better about that 3 than more Ibiaga and Uragide or Abubakar Uragide and whatever.
Right.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
Yeah. If we're looking at a season where Ibiaga and Abubakar combined get maybe 10 starts, filling in on a call-up or an injury, I'm okay with that.
All right. The other thing that happened this week was more of this weird rumor mongering around Martin Paz getting bought or being sold to a Indonesian club.
Right.
And then weirdly, he posted a photo of him telling everybody, lots of rumor about, whatever he said. He was essentially said, hey, I don't know. None of this stuff is true. But what was weirder was it was a photo of him standing outside a Muay Thai boxing ring, getting his hands wrapped, getting ready to throw down some martial arts.
Yeah.
Over in Indonesia, it looks like.
Well, I probably figure that's kind of like the way offensive linemen do that, to work on their hand technique and strong mentality.
Maybe he wants to pick a fight against Collodi for the job.
I can't wait to hear about a Collodi Paz dust up in training. That'll be awesome.
Collodi's going to show up one day with a DJ black eye, DJ Countess black eye.
I mean, if you're keeping both guys, man, there's nothing wrong with having that be a wide open position and having it be a week by week challenge. I mean, some guys respond better to that kind of environment. Maybe Paz is a guy that needs to feel challenged, because ever since he started getting Indonesia call ups, to me, he has not been as good. And Collodi played great last year. I'm okay if it's Collodi the whole way. I also think it's great if Paz is here and fighting for a job. My general philosophy is when you have a player that has a really good value as a backup, that you should try to maximize that asset and move him somewhere and get something in return for him. But if their philosophy is, if Quill's definitely a guy who likes to keep the open battle going, and if they want to keep Paz, who's got a decent contract, while Collodi's dirt cheap, great. That's cool. Go to war. See what happens.
All right. Well, cocktails and cleats, or whatever they call that party. When is that officially? Because I think I'm going to bring something else up tied to this. That's why I'm asking. Do you know when it is?
I don't know when it is.
Because I can't remember if we mentioned it last week or 2 weeks ago.
I mean, usually it's like a couple weeks for the season because they introduce the team to the fans and go, here's the team. So it's after cut downs usually, so it's.
Well, with the season starting so early, it just made me wonder because they're obviously that's the date they reveal the New Jersey.
Yeah.
And I'm assuming it won't leak before then. And the reason why I bring that up is I'm just going to bust into kit talk here real quick. Sorry, Dan, that you're not here for this. Footy Headlines threw out an article the other day that I think had 9 of the different MLS new shirts for this year of the teams getting new shirts, whether it be a home or away.
Okay.
And I'm all kinds of pissed that.
Why is that?
Well, because essentially the design we've been hoping for and hoping that Dallas was going to get for this season is now inhabited by the colorway of one Real Salt Lake. Have you not seen that yet?
I have. It's very thick and chunky.
Well, that's the design we were kind of hoping for.
Well, I was hoping for a little more hoopy and a little less like big, gigantic waves like that. But
this is just this is like the classic. That Real Salt Lake design looks almost identical to Dan's design that we came up, or you and he came up with a couple of years ago. This is our dream kit.
Yeah. February 12th, by the way, is the date. I guess what I would say is that the only difference between RSL and FC Dallas kits is that RSL has yellow trim and Dallas has white trim. That's it.
Well, otherwise, and their red is more of a maroon versus a red.
Slightly. But the thing is that the teams all make their kits in a vacuum, independent from each other. They don't communicate. So like you can have teams come up with basically the same kit like that.
Yeah, I'm telling you, there's zero way Adidas league is ever going to have 2 teams with essentially the same home kit like that.
Well, they let them do it all the time.
Who?
The league. I mean, you basically get solid white and solid black kits all over the place.
Okay, that's different than an identifiable design like hoops.
Maybe. I don't know. Maybe we'll see.
I mean, I'm not saying Dallas won't end up with some sort of hoopy design this year. I just don't think it'll be as straightforward, simplistic, traditionally hoop design if Real Salt Lake is already getting that. What I'm worried this indicates to me is that if Dallas is reverting to some sort of hoopy design for next year for their home kit, it's going to have some sort of stylization to it. Like it'll be paint swoops or, paint swipes in the form of hoops or some sort of gradient or vibey thing that we've seen before.
So 2 questions. Would it bother you if it was very, very similar to Salt Lake's? And 2 is like, would it bother you if it had some sort of gradient? Would you be happy enough to get red and blue hoops that you wouldn't mind some stylization?
No. If it was the correct color, red and blue with the white trim, and it looked almost identical to Salt Lake's, I would be over the moon excited about it. I would just be pissed that they also let Salt Lake do the same thing.
Yeah.
Because Salt Lake has no hoops in their tradition whatsoever. Salt Lake historically, if they've ever done anything, has been stripes, not hoops.
Yeah.
So that's the weird twist in this, is that they're letting Salt Lake do something. So I would much rather it be a more traditional, straightforward hoop design for Dallas and have it be similar to another team's shirt than have it be some sort of weirdo, stylized vibe version of hoops, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, that's totally fair. I'm with you. It would annoy me if it was exactly the same as RSL's, except for, of course, the trim.
Right. And if RSL pairs that with the same color blue shorts and Dallas gets their version, but they wear it with white shorts.
Right.
Super excited. I would be
wildly
shocked
to see Dallas have wear white shorts.
I know.
I agree with you 100% that they look way better in the white kits, but white shorts, but the league sort of doesn't like that, and FC Dallas sort of doesn't like that apparently, because they keep choosing red or mostly blue these days shorts, leaving you sort of in a solid dark fudgy mess. I mean, that's the main reason why I don't like it for FC Dallas in particular, because the dark blue and dark red, it's not like a deep burgundy red, but it's a darkish red most of the time. You end up with sort of a muddled dark thing, and you don't get that. That's why the white trim is so important, and why to me white shorts would make it really, really good, because it would make everything sort of pop off, and that would be really exciting.
Well, it does mean that we're probably 6 weeks away from getting the new kit revealed, which means Dan's got a lot of work to do, and fast.
He probably already has it done. We just got to beat him into.
We got to post it.
Usually, you want to see a few leaks or like a little noise or a little hints, so you can kind of lock it in. But we just found out what the kit model is, and that really does a lot in terms of firming up what we think it's going to look like. So,
the return of the collar is featured predominantly in a lot of these shirts, by the way.
Oh, is it? Oh, I haven't seen that.
Yeah, a lot of the collar is returned.
Sure
okay. Yeah, me too. Very good. Okay. Anything else, Football Club Dallas, Byrne, you'd like to discuss, sir?
Just that they did a super draft, and they came out with 6 players.
Did we not talk about the draft?
No, the draft was between then and now.
Shoot, sorry.
Yeah, well, I don't think we need to talk about it a lot, because there's only a couple players that we need to worry about. The first 3 picks are the ones that for FC Dallas people are going to care about. The last 3 were basically picked by John Gall. Overall, here's a problem. Like 3 of the 6 picks are internationals, which is not a good idea when you're already over the international limit by 2.
Does MLS Next Pro have international slot restrictions?
Yeah, they do, but it's not nearly as big a deal, because it's a lot more.
Yeah, because as I was watching this play out, I kept thinking, this is not an FC Dallas draft. This is a North Texas Soccer Club. Hey, we got a new stadium. We need better players and season tickets to sell. Draft.
100%. Yeah, we got to win some games. Yeah, 100%. They drafted veteran international guys that they played in college, but they're like 23, 24. These are not kids in the later rounds. Some talented guys, interesting guys, but they're clearly for North Texas. The third pick is confusing. The goalkeeper. Now, they needed a goalkeeper. There's no question. They got the guy that's often talked about as the best one in college, or maybe the best 2. Again, though, international. He's German. So while you think, well, they for sure need a third keeper because the Jackson's not coming back. But again, we already talked about them being, I don't mean when they say I'm over the limit. They're not. They're way over the 8. They already have 2 extra slots, and they're over that already before they drafted this kid. So I don't know how you get him in the roster. I assume that you either sign him to North Texas until you need him, or you sign him to FC Dallas and then loan him out, I guess, or something. Yeah. Anyway, it's really confusing. He's also a sophomore, so he doesn't have to show up. He could stay in school if he wanted to. You only get drafted once, but he can go back as much as he wants to. So that's all weird.
Dallas is more enter than Miami at this point.
Yeah, they do not like domestics at all, and we'll show you as we go forward why that's true. The first 2 picks too, but the keeper on paper, okay, I like it, but the German part is very confusing in terms of how you fit that in the roster as things are right now. The first 2 picks they traded up and they got 2 picks at the top of the round. Both of them are phenomenal talents, some of the best attackers in the game. The third overall pick is a big number 9 from Virginia. He's from America. He's American, but he has an international. He's been a Jamaican U17, U20. So again, American, but also Jamaican. So they like these players like this. This guy is. I had a couple people message me that he's super talented. 19 years old. Everyone's real excited. He's a pure 9. The other dude, the number 2 overall pick for in the draft, is again also American, but not. He's Haitian, but he's born in the United States, but he's Haitian descent. He's a forward. He's a winger. Has some really great numbers. A really exciting player. But here's the thing: what's a winger going to do in a 3-5-2? He ain't a wing back. He's a wing. He's very similar, if you will, in Bernie to profile. So are they converting him?
And they already have.
I don't know how he's going to have. How many impact? Yeah. What are they going to do with Dietzen? How much impact is he going to have as a rookie when they don't play a formation that has a wing? And if you're a 9, you have Petter Musa and Logan Frazier on this team. How much is he going to play as a 9? Because you've also got Sam Sarver kicking around. You got Anderson Julio kicking around. So like the chances of a 19-year-old and what's the other guy, 20, and a 20-year-old cracking into like your starting 11 this season are very slim, and maybe your game day roster, but even then, like, who are you dropping? Anderson Julio's getting paid almost $1 million. Are you dropping Bernie? I mean, like,
no, the answer is exactly what we said at the beginning of this is these are all guys they are bringing in to fill out the North Texas roster who they had to essentially evacuate at the end of last season. Don't forget, next season, the club, the family, the organization is opening a brand new stadium in a brand new market. Make no mistake, Mansfield is a new market, and they are very excited about this. I've met enough people from Mansfield who have all unsolicited come to me and said, man, I'm kind of excited about getting tickets to go to games there. It's not like they're going to throw out a U19 FC Dallas Academy team on that thing. They got to put a team out there that's going to entertain and get people to want to buy tickets for that deal.
As we go forward, we're going to talk about how that's going to impact the pipeline. But, to look at any of these picks and think, oh, that is really going to help in 2026. No. These picks are about North Texas in 2026 and FC Dallas in 2 to 3 years, or maybe even in 2027, if they're really good, when maybe you're going back to a back four someday eventually and need another 9 because Moose has been sold, or need a wing because Logan Farrington's gone to Europe. I mean, you don't know. Anderson Julio may have moved on by then. His contract's about to be up. So the top 3 picks, I like all 3 of them. They're all great picks. They're not great picks for today. They're great picks for at some point in the future. And that's why we want to talk about them and explain that, like, don't watch camp thinking, I can't wait for this new number 9 to take Moose's spot. No.
No. That kid isn't going to be in a Dallas shirt unless Petr Musa makes the Croatian national team and hits a couple of worldies in the World Cup and gets sold for $25 million in July.
Yeah. I mean, that's when, if Musa's gone, if next season Julio's gone, if Farrington comes, the offer comes, I mean, who knows, right? But are we talking about League Cup games post World Cup? Musa needs a break. Now we're going to Leagues Cup. Oh, here you go, put that kid in. You know what I mean? Like, so you'll see him, but like the impact is going to be slim, and that's okay. Yeah. Like I love the picks from the talent basis and like the opportunity and potential going forward basis. These guys are both outstanding players. They're some of the best players in the game. Herman Trophy, Seminole Finals, all that crap, but they ain't going to help you in 2026.
Please, I hope nobody takes any of my comments as critical. I think I agree, they're great picks, but we also shouldn't in any way, shape, or form paint these as players for Dallas's 26 season. This was, this all very much has a vibe of, we've got an actual use for these guys. And that's what the whole North Texas is here for anyway, right?
Yeah.
It just happens to be they're opening a new stadium and they need season tickets to sell. They've got season tickets to sell.
While we're talking draft, let me throw out that I tweeted that Slade Starnes, who's the former Academy player, went to Furman, then was this SMU this last year, signing as a homegrown senior center back. He was a first team All-American Herman semifinalist center back. He is signing a homegrown deal. Everything I said here from all my sources, that's still on track. That's still happening. It just hasn't been announced because the offices have been closed for a week, and they're closed this week too. FC Dallas's front office will be basically, I'm sure the TDs in the front and the
there's your other center back
are working, but the PR types that would announce a signing are not working. So, and it's just a homegrown player, so it's not like it's a big rush. But
yes, but now that you said this out loud, Buzz, there's your other center back for this team.
Yeah.
Because that feels like what was the Eastern European kid that used to be in the academy that was on the roster for a couple of years that we never saw play?
Oh, Matt Korcha?
Yeah, Korcha.
Yeah, he wasn't in the academy, but yeah.
You get it. Same thing.
Yeah,
just, he's an emergency player.
Alvaro's still around. This kid will probably, it's a homegrown deal, so he'll be on the FC Dallas roster. He'll probably play a lot in North Texas. Maybe you'll see him come and get a cup game. He's one for down the line too. Remember that at the end of this next season, Ibiaga and Laws Abubakar both out of contract or on an option, so they could both be parted with, both in their young to mid 30s at that point. Ibi will be 35 at that point. I'll also be 32, I think, at that point. So it's perfect time to see some of those young center backs start to come through when maybe you're not a back 3. That's a conversation for a year from now.
Well, there you have it. The finality of our discussion of the somewhat forgettable 2025 FC Dallas season.
Yeah.
Don't let it hit you on the ass on the way out. All right, Trinity. I don't know what to make of this team. I feel bad for them because I see pictures of the turnout for these games at the Cotton Bowl, Buzz, and I don't know what to. I don't know.
It's not good.
No, I mean, is there 500 people at that last game?
Maybe. I mean, at the end of last year they were trending up, and then the beginning of this season they had like one home game, and then they had a bunch of road games and a big Cotton Bowl break, and they were losing games on the road, and they've had like one or two home games at the end, and the attendance has been terrible. They just lost all their momentum. I don't know how they get it back. They've hit the winter break. They tied the last game 1-1. They are in fourth place, so they are in the top half of the league. They're playing pretty well now that they got Missimo back, but they're about to lose Tamara Bolt, who back to her loan ended, so she's going back to her NWSL club. That's a problem because the success of the last 3 or 4 games or so, they had shifted her to the 9 so they could play very vertical. She's very pacey, plays over the top. If she's gone, that ability goes away, and now you have to go back to probably Thornton at the 9 and more of a build-out kind of team. Well, as part of that, they've been using the captain Amber Wisner as a center back, basically the back end of this first part of the season. But really, you want her in the midfield. So either you need to find a center back and move her up. But even if you do, at the end of this next spring, which is half a season away, she's retiring. She said flat out, "This is it. I'm done." She just got married. She wants to move on with her life.
Right.
So she's leaving. So whatever position it is, center back or 6 or both, you better start working quick on getting a replacement because she's not going to be around. So, McCutcheon started a little rough, but has looked better in the middle of the field lately. But Blot is not doing good enough. Their center back is a real problem because they're having to use Amber back there instead of whatever bodies they have been sticking in there. So they got some work to do this winter. And Petrocelli, as we talked about, still doesn't want to coach. So I think it's entirely likely they're going to come into this spring with a new coach too. So there's going to be lots of things afoot over there with Dallas Trinity. And I don't know what's going to come out of it. It's going to be a little bit chaotic. It might be a new coach. It might be 3 or 4 new players. They try and take advantage of the NWSL season ending because young ladies will come off of contracts or deals. Maybe they'll get some new loans. It's going to be interesting how they may look a little bit different at the start of the spring.
I understand all of the stuff that you're talking about in the micro. I'm concerned about this in the macro because no matter how the team, whatever the players are, no matter what formation they play or style or who the coach or how many games they're winning or losing, man, if they can't get people to come out in any sort of numbers on a regular basis, they got a problem. And I also, and we'll talk about them here in a little bit, I have to think the Atletico Dallas guys see this and they go, man, our work is cut out for us.
Yeah. We'll come back to Atletico. The Trinity question is, I'm sure the business model is not made for 500 fans. I'm sure it's made on 3,000 to 5,000 fans. And I don't know, for whatever reason, right now, this fall section, they're not reaching the audience. Last spring, they were reaching the audience. Is there a fall spring problem in terms of like what kids are doing? I don't know. I don't know the answer to that question, but I'm with you, Peter. Like the fall attendance, it's not like it fell off a little bit. It fell off like 90%. It went from $3,000 at its worst to 300 at its worst. It's not.
Well, good. And is that reflective of the fact that the team kind of got crummy for a period of time, and is turnout dependent on how good the team is playing? Again, it's all about expectation setting. I never expect them to have 10,000 or 15 or 20,000 people show up, but let's say 5,000 is at the top level of what they can genuinely expect in terms of a successful turnout. If that's really dependent on them being a good team and getting, and being successful on the field.
Yeah, I didn't look it up, but that break when they're gone on the road was almost like 2 months. And I really think that did a lot to really kill their momentum.
Oh, I think it probably, yeah.
Yeah, it was hard to be on the forefront of the mind of their audience when they're gone all the time. It's like, I don't know when they're coming back. That can't have helped. Because the season opener was decent attendance, but then it was like they had a couple of games and then they left. And when they came back, it was awful. And I think that had to do a lot of it. And I just think they need to, that problem is not going to go away. They and Atletico are both going to have that state fair problem forever. That's always going to be there. them not being able to have games in there. They're going to have to negotiate some different way to do that other than just this big one national friendly they do, which I don't think. I will say that this time had a better attendance than last time, but it was Tigres, who is a great local draw. Was that who it was, or was it Club America? I can't remember. One of the big
Club
Mexican
America.
teams. Club America, yeah. That's not as good as Tigres is in this market, but still, obviously, it's quite good. So, strangely better than Barcelona, which is weird. But it just shows you how Hispanic the market is here. But that's the bottom line, is they got to figure out how to reach the audience, as you say.
Yeah. Well, for those who are Trinity fans listening to this, they're probably frustrated or disappointed that I started off with that comment. But that's the thing, is you and I have been following this sport and this market for a very long time, and we're all very hopeful that this works and succeeds. We want professional women's soccer to be a thing here in Dallas. I just worry that the indicators so far is they've got a real struggle on their hand. And I personally feel like, the answers to their problems is going to come at great expense in terms of marketing, advertising budget, and how they move forward with that stuff in getting the word out, because you can't just rely on cool merch and social media to make ticket sales, especially when you're trying to get people to go down to Fair Park. And then that's a big part of this conversation. Dan, I think, is the one that said, what solves Trinity attendance problems? Playing in Frisco.
Yeah, it does. Yeah.
I generally believe that if they were playing at Toyota Stadium, their attendance numbers would be exponentially better, because I think that marketplace up there just fits this better. I think the atmosphere, the whole thing just fits better for it.
The question would be, monetarily, would 10,000 at Toyota be better than 5,000 at the Cotton Bowl?
Because they've got to share revenue and stuff. Yeah. I'm just talking, I'm not talking about the revenue part of it. I'm just talking about getting people interested in attending games. If you take all the other business BS out of the question, and where does this team succeed in terms of attracting an audience? I'm just not. The Cotton Bowl just creates all sorts of weird problems. And clearly, we're going to talk about them in a second, but Atletico's clearly trying to already 2 years in advance figure out those answers. And kudos to them for doing that. Because I think their audience is different. They're clearly chasing a very different audience than what the Neal family's trying to chase with Trinity.
Yeah, you and I are old enough that we've seen a great many teams and leagues fail. What we care about most is financial health of these teams that come in to soccer. We've only seen FC Dallas succeed in terms of surviving. I don't mean succeed in terms of winning. I mean surviving, right? We watched the death of the North American Soccer League. We watched the death of the 80s into 90s version of indoor soccer. We watched MLS come in with this crazy, unique business plan that everybody ripped. And I talked about a million times at the time, like, the business plan is the only thing that matters, because you got to be able to survive. And then the USL is surviving, in my opinion, because MLS is propping up the whole thing in terms of making it function. And a lot of these leagues, and even in USL, the amount of survivable teams that are making money and lasting are not huge. And Dallas Atletico's talked about how they're the first team to try it in an MLS market. And they're going into the new Division I thing. We have no idea about the viability of that. The Super League with Dallas Trinity is only in its second season. What's the viability of that league at all, trying to be Division I when they really are the second tier? What's the viability of a women's team in the shadows of FC Dallas in the Cotton Bowl? Like, we have no idea the financial viability of either of those teams. The new Fort Worth team, the indoor teams are clearly collapsing. Both Sidekicks and Outlaws are gone. Hitchcock's coined some magic way to keep Division IV teams afloat with this hyper-local marketing. Good on him. The budgets of that thing are minuscule compared to the budgets of a Division I or USL Championship or MLS side. Very, very different animal. So far, no team but FC Dallas has made it work. And they're not necessarily doing it by making money that we know of. They might be breaking even in a lot of ways. Yeah. So we're going to see with these other teams. The verdict is still out on all this stuff.
Yeah. And you and I both know a significant percentage of all the revenue generated for the Hunts comes from the academy, not the academy, the youth club.
Yeah, and everything they're doing with Toyota Stadium, don't kid yourself. Those are all revenue moves,
Right.
including the $2
Suites
billion project around the thing that they now own that's going to make them money. And at that point, do you care if the team is losing money or breaking even? If the stadium's generating revenue and the $2 billion project around it is generating revenue, that's the modern sports way, is these rejuvenated areas and all the things around them. They're all making everybody money. It's always real estate guys are getting involved. These real estate tycoons are buying some of these teams and doing these projects. The Hunts are not dumb. Look at what they're doing.
Not at all.
And ask yourself, like, why are they doing this? Why do you think they're doing it? They're trying to make the team as a not by itself, but in the collective, a financially viable thing. We've told people many times that FC Dallas is owned by just Clark and Dan. And I can prove it to you because that the lawsuit where the kids sued the team, all the testimony, they brought in a guy from HSD to testify, and the judge and the lawyers were asking him, why are you here? He's like, I have no idea. We have nothing to do with FC Dallas. HSG has nothing to do with FC Dallas. No, we don't own it. We got nothing to do with it. Right there on the stand, they were saying that.
Right.
The big stuff around Toyota is still HSG. FC Dallas is not, but all that other crap is. That's where the money is. Right. So just remember that at the end of the day, these are billionaires with money that they care about. So that's, you can always track what they're doing that way.
Lamar knew exactly what he was doing when he initially tried to cut a deal with the city of McKinney.
Yep.
And that fell apart, and said, you know what? We'll just go a little further to the west and cut a deal with Frisco.
And if you hate Frisco, never forget that they saved FC Dallas. There would not be a team here.
Oh, 100%. Yeah. Yes.
Yeah. And us, for that matter.
By the way, I just, the Wall Street Journal has an article that came out yesterday talking about how Dallas Fort Worth Dallas is exploding, except it's downtown. And its downtown is like one of the most least, it has the highest vacancy rates of commercial property in the United States. I think it's second in the country.
Well, you remember Frisco went from one high school to like 15 high schools, and went from like a town of 1,000 people to like 100,000 with richer than everything.
And I will say, the Morning News printed an article the other day that I guess a collective of architects who are desperate, and as am I, to retain Dallas City Hall, IMPay building, which is too historic for anybody to even argue to be torn down.
I mean, RoboCop will be pissed.
We've got other places for you to go, and one of them is the Reunion Arena site, which is where you and I have always wanted a soccer stadium to be built for 100 years, right? So they're talking about building a new Reunion Arena for the basketball team there, which would totally make sense.
Good for them.
Yeah, 100%. All right, so Trinity on vacation. When does the spring season kick back off?
Well, let me glance at the calendar. Let's see. It looks like January 21st.
Okay.
They
back
are
in action then.
Versus Brooklyn at the Cotton Bowl. So everybody get out there. It's before FC Dallas starts by about 4 weeks. So plenty of time to catch yourself some Trinity.
Yep.
Enjoy those games. They're fun. You should all go.
All right. We mentioned Atletico Dallas. I think we talked about their plans and announcements to build a bar, restaurant, playing facility in Deep Ellum or at the edge of Deep Ellum. That's all great.
Yeah.
I think that's
amazing.
a
Awesome.
really
so
cool idea.
Yeah.
Really, really cool. They also announced that I guess they're trying to build their youth organization.
Yeah. They bought a UPSL side, cleaned up, by the way, one of the most confusing names in the history of sport, FC Dallas Dynamo. Got that cleaned up. That's good. That club's been around for a long time. I think they predate Dynamo coming into MLS. I'm not sure, but because they were the Dallas Dynamo for a long time. So that's
I always assumed it was a collection of former academy kids from both Dallas and the Dynamo.
I don't know. In the back of my brain, they predate the Houston Dynamo being a thing. The Dallas Dynamo, I think, have been around a while in one form or another. So I give them a little credit. But the Atletico Dallas bought their UPSL side, so they're going to be Atletico Dallas in the UPSL, which is good. The idea, of course, is that it provides a semi-pro sort of environment to transition from academy to them. This is going to be their reserve team. Someday, will there be a different kind of reserve team? Maybe, but this is completing the pathway. This is their North Texas for now. So we'll see how it all evolves. Well, someday they want a USL 1 team, which is like Texoma or what North Texas SC used to be in. Maybe. FC Dallas has a UPSL team also. They play academy kids in it. They play kids from their 18s, 17s, and even 16s that aren't getting enough playing time. They'll rotate them into that and go play.
That's the Zach Lloyd team?
Does Lloyd coach that? No. Lloyd coached the summer league team, the U23 team, which is like college kids.
Okay.
This is a team that's run by the academy where they take, if the academy played a weak team, they might move some of their better players over here and vice versa, wherever they can get the best games. And they play. UPSL is mostly guys in college that aren't college players. They're the guys that are elite high school or academy guys that didn't quite go off to Division I, or they did and they maybe fell out of it, or maybe they bouncing up between indoors or this or that. I mean, you'd recognize a few of the names now or then if you've been around town long enough, if you look at their rosters. But it's pretty competitive. It's probably some of the most elite soccer in the Metroplex. Like Foro is the best team in that league all the time, and Foro is one of the great teams in town here at that level. So it's a great move in terms of like building the structure of their pipeline even right now, because they already have an academy team. So this is going to help bridge guys along, and we'll see how it all fits in. 5-10 years from now, it might be a different sort of landscape. But for now, great move, great process of building it out. And even before they have a pro team, they're trying to offer you a pathway to move up and come through their system to be on their pro team next year, even perhaps. So we'll see. Good stuff. All right. I think we've covered it, and we got it in right at North Texas. Look at us. Yeah. North Texas SC is off. They have some player announcements eventually. I've already reported what they all are going to be. Rodeo SC, nothing. Fort Worth, we haven't heard anything yet. So, that's all we got. That's all the pro soccer. The incredible mystery, the curious case of the Fort Worth USL team. Yeah. I think we've singularly hyped that thing way beyond we probably should have. That's going to end up blowing up in our face, isn't it? Yeah, no, it's 100% happening. It's still 100% happening, but it's not. Remember, Dan said it's a year later. They're not coming into USL Championship. They're going to wait for the Premier thing. Yeah. So I suppose it could fall apart. What we know is 100%. They're doing all the things you need to do to have the team be there. Like, they're going through the process. Atletico did it publicly. These guys are doing it privately. We're keeping it quiet, squashing it. So, it is there, though. We know it's there. So we'll see. Excellent. All right. Very good. Well, I hope everybody had a nice holiday, nice Christmas or whatever, and have a nice, safe New Year, because that's happening between now and the time that this episode comes out. Hopefully people will hear it before then. And the next episode will be start of season 8 of the podcast and season 29 of Third Degree. Yipes. That's crazy. It's crazy. All right. Wait, we're doing this again next season? I mean, I thought we were. Oh, okay. Was it up for debate? I guess we could talk about it. Have we signed our contracts yet? I just assume our new deals. We'll have a contract now. I don't know why you want one. Don't tell everybody that. Yeah. I'm already doubling your salary for next year. Thanks. Yeah. I'm getting a bag of Kit Kats this year. 2 bags of Kit Kats. Oh, Twix. Oh, we've switched sponsors from Kit Kat to Twix. Yeah, caramel Twix. Dig it. Awesome. This episode of Third Degree, the podcast, has been brought to you by you and people like you, the listeners of this podcast who have joined us on patreon.com/Third Degree. If you like our work in the soccer community, why not join us? Patreon.com/Third Degree. All right, Buzzard. Well, good stuff. Hopefully Dan joins us again sometime soon. Yeah. We see Dan. We'll see 2026 Dan next. Ooh, can't wait for the special shave of the... Yeah, wait till you guys see it. That's right. Maybe he'll have gotten it bleached or dyed, something like that. He'll shave it down into some sort of goatee. Yeah, some crazy little hook thing. It's good. Hook thing. Dan with a handlebar mustache would be awesome. That would be awesome, wouldn't it? That would be so awesome. And he could twirl it when he's mad. Yeah, absolutely. All right. Thank you, Buzzard, very much. And thank you, DFW Soccer Curious. We will speak to you next week. It is next week, yeah. And next year in another episode of Third Degree, the podcast. Somebody buy a 10. Third Degree, the Third Degree Net Podcast. Third Degree, the Third Degree Net Podcast. Third Degree, the Third Degree Net Podcast. Third Degree, the Third Degree Net Podcast.